Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Wendy Sellers, the HR lady, here with my co-host, JC.
Wendy, when we started to really dip into the realm of organizational development, that really struck a chord with me in the last episode. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes now.
Me too.
Not that I wasn't before, but I'm really on the edge of my seat now. I'm serious.
Seriously, me too. I'm loving this concept of the Beekeeper's Guide. I want to welcome back Katie and Mike. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Wendy. Good to be
Hi, Wendy.
here.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You guys have such amazing experience and just I want to be part of your brain. I love this, the concepts that you're coming up with. And I want to dive in a little bit more for our listeners to talk about, gaining personal leadership insights on fostering growth and inspiring their organization. So talk to me about, leading with purpose. I know we already talked about company mission and vision, and we got into values and even personal values a little bit, but how do we lead with purpose regardless of what our title is?
Well, I love this question so much. And I think, it goes down to stuff we talk about sometimes in our keynote addresses and even just in organizations. But, for you to lead with purpose, you really have to kind of have someone that's an inspiring guide for you, right? A mentor or growth partner. I think it's hard for people to just kind of go out and assume that, they know how to lead or they know how to manage and not look at their, I see your background, Wendy, and I know we're not on video, but like the stars behind you and the people in your star system or the people that are in your constellation that helps you see things differently that you can inspire. And, one of the words that comes to mind is the word lodestar, which is kind of that inspiring star that kind of helps guide us, our North Star. And I think leaders, for them to be purpose-driven, need to kind of take a step back and realize that they need people in their lives who can really help them shine, help them grow, and inform them on kind of maybe how to create an environment that is best for team success, right? And being more of a servant to the people and empowering them, right? I think that's a really key part of this is not being that autocratic leader, but more of an individual who allows teams to kind of use their strengths to optimize performance. And that's when we lead with purpose. I think we inspire people to bring their best selves to work. I
love that. And what are, my personal thoughts, as the HR lady are, if we're not leading with purpose and if we're not inspiring other people, we're going to be doing a heck of a lot of recruiting because we're going to have, turnover, or worse, we're going to have the people quit and stay, right? So then we're just going to be spending more money and not making more money. So Katie, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that Mike brought in, this idea of, kind of looking at your background, Wendy, of the stars and star systems. And so when we think about purpose, our second book, The Stargazer, really encourages people to think about who's in their star system. And in that, and, Mike and I kind of do a lot of this work, is we're always reflecting on our purpose, right? And the alignment of work and the body of work that we're doing that really fuels, right, personal purpose. And sometimes it takes some reflection and conversation and, some, provocative, discussion about, never thought about that, or this is kind of interesting, or, I see this in you, but I didn't really, see it in myself. And, there's a space for us to kind of explore that way forward. And so I think sometimes purpose doesn't come easy for people, nor does the reflective process. But when we get into it, right, I think that it opens up a host of discovery and the opportunity for us to think about kind of, putting that front and center as we show up, right, as we grow, as we model what we want the people around us to do too.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there and say, you're absolutely right. Purpose doesn't come easy to a lot of people. Like, how can we help people, again, regardless of what their role is, if they're managing people, if they're leading people, if they're just leading themselves, how can we help them determine, what their purpose is?
Yeah, it's funny, Mike, did you want to say something as I came up? I'll go through, in the coaching space, helping people create their leadership philosophy. And so often I hear people say, like, nobody's ever asked me to think about this. Nobody's ever asked me to think about my core values or what fuels me or how my DISC style, right, influences where I put energy or where my mindsets are naturally and what my stretch areas are. And so there's this exercise, right, that we can kind of encourage that self-reflective process. And then there's like a right sizing, like, oh, let me not get stuck here as I'm thinking about leading with purpose, prioritizing energy, thinking about the opportunity to engage people who are different than me, with different fuel, right? That we could get to the same destination, but maybe in different ways.
I love it. I love that you brought up personality styles too. I'm a personality styles addict. Like I just, I use the DISC model. I'm certified in that too. And when I first experienced DISC at like a all-day seminar, I was like, oh, I'm the problem. It's me. My personality is the problem. I didn't realize everybody else in the world didn't appreciate direct, dominant ordering around. And so, I joke because I am a D personality and I can joke about that, but I don't joke about that with any other personality styles because they would probably be offended by it, and they should be. But it changed my life when I learned about personality styles. And then as you were talking, I was even thinking the same thing. I don't know if anybody ever asked me about my values. The only reason I have them written down is because I'm a business owner, and my values as Wendy Sellers are the values of the HR lady because it's my company. Mm-hmm. And so that's very interesting. So you do have a program that can help somebody figure out what their purpose is.
Yeah. And I think we use it a lot too in like emotional intelligence training, right? Because there's a space of, first self-reflection, right? Then we go to that self-regulation, and we think about like, what do I have emotional responses to? A lot of it comes back to values being compromised, right? And so there's a place for us to understand like, oh, now I know why I'm so upset about this and no one else seems to really care about it, right? But I can hit the pause button, think about how we want to respond, come back, reframe, right? Think about the way forward instead of getting stuck swirling, right? We come in more with that solutions focus, understanding why we might have the emotional response, and then thinking about how we collectively find a way forward. In the absence of that, we could get stuck in, right? I'm so mad right now, right? And we don't understand why or what to do about it, to think about that solution and way forward.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thanks everybody for joining us in this episode. And if you are interested in learning more about topics like this, and then also topics that I do not teach, like accounts payable and Excel spreadsheets, check out the Aurora Training Advantage website, and know that if you go to the Aurora Training Advantage website and listen to our podcast there, you can get HRCI and SHRM credits. So thanks for listening to us. We'll see you soon in our last and final episode, where we'll be talking more about the beekeepers and hearing a little bit more of how we can reach out to Katie and Mike. Take care.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.